Hey everybody, what's going on? Today I'm going to be doing probably my most requested video. We're going to talk about divine prototypes today. I'm going to get you familiar with the system, and then we'll talk about a couple that I think stand out that are really good. I have not had a chance to look at every single divine prototype in the game yet, but there's a couple that stand out to me that I use pretty heavily, and we'll talk about those, okay? So divine prototypes work very similar to the way that commanders work, okay? You equip them to your team in the team setup menu, and I'll try to get out of the way so you can see down there. I'm sure you all are familiar with at least that part of it by now, right? And so you click here and it'll bring up your divine prototype, and you've got 3 different slots for 3 different types of prototypes. They have a stat effect on your team, and then they bring an effect to a team that affects a particular class, right? So there is not really a case of use this divine prototype every time. They are, I think, much like commanders, they're going to be situational. It's going to depend on the comp you're running. It's going to depend on the content you're doing. It's going to depend on a lot of things. So there's a few really good ones. Definitely some that are better than others, but I don't think there's any that you just use across the board, at least until you start getting the red ones, the red, I guess they're mythic divine prototypes. Maybe those you could use across the board, but anyway, you've got 3 categories here, okay? And the best way to remember what the categories are is Enlightenment is basically for your healers / supports, but generally your healers. Tenacity is going to be for your tanks, and Dominator is going to be for everyone else, which is basically your damage dealers, right? That's a good way to remember which category. Enlightenment, heals, tenacity, tanks, Dominator, everyone else. And you collect them from Terra Dome, and when you get duplicates, they don't show up in your inventory. You will just be able to advance. You use duplicates to advance the ones that you've gotten first. So when you get your first copy of one, it's going to kind of lock itself in your inventory, and then when you get duplicates, they'll have a red dot. You can jump in and advance them. That way you don't have to worry about accidentally feeding one or anything like that. There's no accidental getting rid of one or feeding one into the other one or something here, okay? Now, beyond that, the benefit to collecting them is in the construction blueprint. This is kind of, think of this like your Great Hall if you played Raid Shadow Legends, or like your talent tree area if you played Infinite Magic Raid. This is stat bonuses for all your champs. If you've ever noticed when you go into your roster that some of your champs have green pluses by their stats here, some of that's coming from your construction blueprint, okay? I should say champs that have no gear on. Let's see if we can find a champ that has no gear to illustrate that point a little better. This one will have no gear on, but we still got pluses to the main stats here. That's the benefit of the construction blueprint, okay? It's all heroes. It's not you have to use this set to get the bonuses. It's not for a particular class or faction. Once you activate a set and then continue it to level up, it's an all hero bonus across the board, all right? It just adds onto their stats. So this will add up pretty well over time. And honestly, when you get a little bit deeper into the Terra Dome, it's not really that bad. I'm sure it's gonna come down to like, you know, crap, I just need this one to finish it off. But generally it's not that bad. And then down here, you're gonna have the mythic ones, okay? And I don't know that you can farm these. Even in Terra 15, it still says the highest one that can drop is gold. I'm guessing we're gonna get these from events, maybe the Twilight event. I don't know much about that event yet because I've never experienced it, but maybe you can farm them from there. And then I've seen one pop up in a pack that I could have bought at some point, but otherwise I don't really know where to get them, okay? And you level them up, they can go up to level 9, and then when you get a copy, you evolve them kind of in the same way you do champions, and then you can go up to the next 9. So you can go to 9, 19, 29, right? And then for instance, like this one, when you get to that last spot, you can take it to 60. So 60, it looks like 60 is gonna be the max level for a divine prototype. And the resource is pretty valuable, and it will add up quick. As you level these up, it gets more expensive, and it is a lot. So this is a very valuable resource. Do not just level up divine prototypes as you get them. You want to be very deliberate in how you're leveling up your divine prototypes. I've actually probably put some levels into some because I did it early on that I shouldn't have. So the correction for that is in the shop, in the Wasteland shop, this thing right here. It's I can't remember what it's called, some sort of chip. You can buy 3, and then that's going to be it for this rotation of the shop. All right, you can't refresh the shop. So it's probably not a bad idea to have several of these on hand, because the cooldown is so long to get them, and they are going to be valuable. Okay, so it's probably not a bad idea to have some of those on hand. What is it called? It's the format chip. It's a good idea to have a few format chips on hand. Okay, because I'm probably going to use a few. Now, that's pretty much the gist of the system, okay? Beyond that, you're going to want to get into the habit of reading what they do, because they all have pretty unique impacts on battle. And just because you have a gold one that can go in a slot where you also have purple ones, the gold one's not automatically the best one. As far as the way the stats scale, it's going to be better, but the effect of a purple one may outweigh the effect of a gold one that you have, all right? So it's not just automatically better because it's gold or because it raises your team power higher. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the effect is more valuable. For example, this is one of my favorites that I use. It's called Power Word Pain. When an allied energy or hunter hero hits 3 or more enemies at the same time with an energy skill, they shall gain an additional 30% damage dealt by their energy skill until the end of the battle. This effect may stack up to 3 times. I use Ravenna, and this is ridiculous on her. On a champ that already has insane ramp-up damage, this just furthers it, right? It makes her more obnoxious as the fight goes on. So Power Word Pain is one of my favorite ones that I use right now. Another really good purple one is Coronate, and this is especially if you're running double healer, but also particularly for single healer, I think it would be effective. The healing effects of allied support heroes shall be increased by 17%. If the HP of a healed unit is lower than 30%, the healing effect shall be increased by another 33%. This boosts your healing dramatically, okay? So it's going to really compensate for the fact that you might be only running 1 healer. And if you're running 2 healers, it's going to make it really difficult for the enemy to outdamage your heals. I personally think that the reason I'm having the success I'm having in some places of the game is because of this Divine Prototype with my double healer comp. For example, last night in the Terra Dome, I was stuck on 11. And then last night, I made some very slight improvements to my champs, and I got a copy of Coronate and was able to add some more levels into it. And immediately we got through to 14. And watching the heals happen, it's just such dramatic HP bar movement when we get heals. And I'm pretty sure that's why we were able to bump up, is because I think if I swapped that Divine Prototype out, I would lose one of my frontline champs. And then when you lose one of your frontline champs in there, at least in my case, that's the end of it. You're on your way out when that happens. So Coronate's really, really good. Really, really good. Whether you're running 1 or 2 healers, it's very powerful. It's going to make it very easy. It's going to make it easier to run 1 healer, and if you're running 2 healers, it's just kind of obnoxious. Okay. Another really good one to keep an eye out for is Flashpoint. Flashpoint does so much. When an allied support hero casts a healing skill, the cooldown of their normal skill shall be reduced by 10%. Any excess healing thereafter shall be converted into a shield and applied to the healed unit. The effect of the shield absorption shall last up to 10% of that unit's max HP. That's doing a lot, right? That's affecting cooldowns. That's adding shield on top of excess healing. I think Flashpoint is a pretty standout Divine Prototype. It's really, really good. I think some that maybe I wouldn't bother with. Treant Heart, I think is so specific. And I think only matters in PvP anyway. I probably wouldn't bother with Treant Heart for now. Maybe it has its place later in PvP, I'm not sure. But I think Dan Heilman did a video recently that demonstrated you don't need accuracy in PvE. That accuracy is strictly a PvP stat. I believe that's what I heard. Same with like crit damage reduction. Enemies on the PvE side of the game are not going to land critical hits on you, so you don't need critical damage reduction unless you're building for arena, okay? I think another one that I do like a lot is Dark Summit. This one goes really well with my Taylor. When an allied assassin or hunter inflicts a crit, they shall have a 30% chance to inflict bonus damage that is equal to 1% of their max HP and up to 120% of the user's attack. I've gotten a little bit of mileage out of this one with my Taylor. I think it's pretty decent. But again, it would be very difficult at this stage of the game, I think, to go through every single one and be like, use this, don't use this, because we're still learning about what all the champs do and how effective they can be, and you know, we'll discover more pairings and stuff. So I might do a video after this where I do go through, I'll just do it through here, and we'll go through and look at every single blueprint or every single divine prototype and see what we think about them, see if we think there's any potential right now. But again, it's still very early to say, and I want to be very careful about being like, no, that one's bad, when it might not be. You know what I mean? We might just not have discovered that it's very usable yet. But I've given you a couple of the ones I think stand out. I think it's very safe to say Coronate is among the better ones for your healers. I think that's a pretty drastic boost to healing. And if you're able to pair that with an abundant set, your healing is going to be just through the roof, right? I mean, I've only got this to its second stage of evolution. I've only got it to level 29. And when we max it out, we're talking 25% and then 50% when they're below 30. That's just going to be bonkers. You know what I mean? So I think Coronate's really good. I think Power Word Pain is really good if you're using AoE champs. It's going to go really well with AoE champs and Rhoda as your commander. I think Flashpoint is a standout. You know what I mean? And then again, I think like Treant Heart, use it if it's all you got, but I don't think it's one you really want to go too hard in early on. So yeah, that's it. Let me know if there's an interest in me doing the video where we go through and look at every divine prototype just to see what they do and give some current thoughts on them. I'll be sure to drop a disclaimer that it's all one, subjective, and two, open to changes moving forward. But I'll probably leave that one up to y'all. Let me know if there's a lot of interest in that. But that's pretty much it. It's not a super complicated system, right? You farm Terra Dome, you get divine prototypes, you don't even see your dupes, you just use them to advance what you get, what you have. Be very careful about using the resource to level them up because it's very valuable and it's going to get very, very, very expensive to level up the ones that you do want to invest in. So be real careful about using that resource, and then understanding that the construction blueprint is basically just your Great Hall if you were a raid player. Just a stat bonus for all players as you accumulate and level up your divine prototypes. All right, so that's it. I do hope it was helpful. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Like and subscribe if you haven't already and you want to, and we'll see you later.